Welcome, everyone, to this gift Zoom call with myself, Amy Shine, and the beautiful, amazing Donnielle Carter. We are both 3-day body process facilitators. Donnielle's also are you? Well, co-founder, co-creator of Right Body for You.
Yes.
Um, and we love talking about bodies. We're kind of weird. We
Yes.
also like bodies. We like our own
Yes.
bodies, and we love talking about bodies.
Yes.
And Danielle is coming to Florida in a couple of weeks. And we wanted to get together and really just talk about bodies together because people were curious, like, why are you both co-facilitating a 3-day body together in Florida? And we were like, because it's fun. We want
That's
to
freaking-
do something fun together. Um, and it really was that energy. So I was like, well, let's come together and talk about bodies and what I asked Danielle was one thing that comes up a lot for people is, you start doing access and people go, well, ask your body, ask your body, ask your body. And you're like, what the fuck is ask your body? So I just would love to have a conversation here around like what does it mean to ask your body? How does that even look like? And where do you even begin with that, Danielle?
Well, first have, no point of view about when you say ask your body, people start swearing at you in their heads. Um, but for me, what I love about ask your body is it's a vital concept, yet a relatively new concept reemerging. I spent, almost 30 years working with my mom and nutrition, and nothing was about ask your body. So I know this is one of the reasons why this is so confusing to people, because we've been taught to tell our body what to do, get it into submission and demand of it and be mean to it and control it. And so when we say ask your body, people are like, what, what? And can you give me a clear roadmap? They're like, unfortunately, no. But what Amy and I thought would be fun to start with also is telling about the first time we heard ask your body and what went through our universes as well. So the first time I heard ask your body was in my very first foundation class with our friend Dr. Dane here, who was the facilitator. And he's like, well, yeah, you should ask your body for everything that pertains to it. And I'm like, excuse me, I know how I'm supposed to be with bodies. I listen to my mom's radio show every week. I produce it. She's a nutritionist. She's been doing this since I was 12. Why would I ask this lump of flesh? I had doubt. I had anger. And as it was my first access class, I went, yep, I'm in the crackpot convention. Ask your body. So when people are like, ask your body, they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, I get it. It was confusing to me. But one thing I had to acknowledge is I started getting excited. Underneath that frustration, that fear, that anger, that dismissal of I'm in the crackpot convention was a little bit of excitement and hope. And then what was interesting about that is I remember it was after the foundation class, I was re-listening to the CDs. Yes, CDs, not MP3 downloads, but CDs. This was 14 years ago. And I heard that again. Well, ask your body for everything that pertains to it. And I'm like, what body? And I'm like, fine. And so I lowered on my barriers and I'm like, okay, hi, body. What's up? What do you want to do today? And honestly, you guys, I felt like an idiot talking to my body, asking it a question. Like, I'm in my office. Thankfully, only the cat is here and she's not judging me too much for talking to this lump of flesh, inanimate object body. Then I pot and pocked that. And I'm like, well, I'll try it again because that thread of excitement. And so what was interesting is really the first time I asked my body anything, I perceived my body, maybe since the first time since childhood, the energy of it, that I actually had it, that there was a physicalness to it because I had lived so in my head. So for me, the very first time I did any ask my body, was the first time I really started perceiving my body, which was really amazing. I mean, information started coming also, like, do this, don't do this. But it was really that first moment of, I have a body. I have a body. And it's alive. So for me, my first Ask My Body, I first began to perceive my body in a whole different way and literally just perceive it as if I have one. And so I remember that moment vividly. And then I got a little nervous because I was like, what? And do I hear voices in my head? What's going on? Because so many people think it's also voices in your head. You're supposed to hear your body's voice or something like that. And it shows up so different. So I could go on forever, but that was my first experience of asking my body anything, is that I began to perceive my body in a whole new way. And from that perception, the communication strengthened. So that was my first Ask My Body anything.
I love that you said that. So, because in order to receive, you first have to acknowledge. What you don't acknowledge, you can't receive. So,
Yep.
if you don't acknowledge that you have a body, you can't actually receive from your body.
Nope.
And it sounds insane to say, like, oh, acknowledge you have a body. Of course, you know you have a body, but have you actually acknowledged you truly have a body that isn't just this object, like you said, like this object that does what I tell it to do, but you have a body that actually has a consciousness of its own. And I think that's where, when ask your body at the start, I was like, oh, like you said, like my body has a voice, like my body has an awareness, my body has consciousness, my body can actually show me things. Like I never knew that. That was not an awareness I had.
Me either. Me either. I was told the exact opposite repeatedly for 27 years.
Well, you were told what to eat, what to drink, what supplements to take, what exercise to do, what all the right things you should do to have the right body. You were never told, what does your body require? What's your body telling you? What's your body asking for? So I love how you said, like, asking my body was the first time I perceived I actually had a body.
Yeah, no, I lived completely in my head. And a lot of us do more than we acknowledge.
Oh my God, yes.
And it's more than just like, I mean, a lot of people go, well, if I exercise or if I move my body, I'm obviously aware I have a body. Not really. I have seen so many people jump out when they're having sex. They'll jump out of their bodies and just let their bodies do it. They're not present. They're not perceiving their bodies. When they're moving their bodies, I've seen people, like, for me, one of my greatest ways of being able to begin to perceive the difference of being with your body, not with your body, is I went to see a Cirque du Soleil show. And you could see people on stage doing the exact same movements. You could tell one was present and perceiving and with their body, and then one was forcing their body and or jumped out of their body. It was really, really, really interesting. And so yeah. How many of you have actually acknowledged you have a body without judgment? Because that's the other key part of it. It's like, oh yeah, I have this body. It's too fat, it's too thin, it's too old, it's too gray, it's too young, it's too this color, it's too whatever. And I see you guys laughing. Exactly. But have you ever just lowered your barriers and been present with your body with no judgment, no expectation, no projection, just being present with it? And I love how all of you just started doing it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And can we, like, all the lies that we bought about body from other people that doesn't allow us to acknowledge our bodies, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Oh, right, wrong, good, bad, papak, only shirts, boys, means. And that's just the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can go to www.theclearingstatement.com for more information on that. But I love how you talked about, like, the running, like, so, because I exercise, like, I actually used to run up the mountain road in Ireland, but by my house. And, like, for me, it was never that, like, oh, body, let's go running. It was like, I was so in my head. I was so like angry, frustrated, like all that stuff, that when I would run, I was doing it from the energy of I need to get out of my head.
Hmm.
So it was never about like the joy of movement and just moving the energy with my body. It was always like I need to get out of my head.
Yep.
And I lived completely in my head. I had so much thoughts, feelings, and emotions every day. So when I first found access, and I knew I needed body work, and when I first found the body work, and it was, I remember my first experience, the one that stings me the most is like, ask your body. It was after my first, I think I was after my first body class, and I was in Sue Cotter's living room in Ireland, and like I had a lot of points of views like you around. My mother also did. She went back to college and she studied health and nutrition, so she gave me all her points of views, and I aligned and agree with them. So I had all points of views about what was right and good and correct to eat and not eat and all that.
Of course, of course.
So when you go ask your body what food does it desire, when you have all these points of views in the way, you can't hear your body.
Mm-mm.
So I had a war going on between my head and my body. So I remember being in the living room with a banana, being like, body, do you want this banana? And then like literally a battle going on between my head and my body. And then I was
Yep.
doing, the muscle testing, the back and forth. I was doing that, but I didn't trust my body. And
Yeah.
my head was so much louder. And so I would ask my body, but I could never actually hear my body because I had so many points of views in the way.
Yeah, and honestly, that's one of my favorite things to explore in all body classes is getting rid of those points of view and also getting clear on who are you not trusting, you or your body, right? Because it's like we distrust ourselves so much as well. We don't even stand a chance of trusting our body. And yeah, because I did that. I did that dynamically too, because of our lovely mothers, because as well as we were aligning and agreeing, I'm sure, yeah, I may have been resisting reacting a little bit. Maybe Amy was a better daughter, but I wasn't. I was like, oh no, mom. But yeah, and so I remember a funny side note. I used to do a radio show for 4 years with my mother called Access the Magic, like the first 4 years of doing Access. And I said something one time about a peanut M&M being like a whole food because it has sugar, salt, and water. And if you listen to that show, I'll say, oh yeah, a peanut's like a whole food because it has sugar, salt, and a protein. And you could hear my mother in the microphone go, because she didn't want to disagree with me on my radio show, but she's like, it's not a whole food. Your body couldn't possibly want that. But that's the point of view that so many of us still function from and try to overcome every time. Because when people ask the body, one of the other things I've seen a lot of people do, myself included, is my body wants it, so it shouldn't matter what this reality says it does, which is just as much of a detrimental point of view and can do not fun things to you and your body as well. And that's when people like, well, my body said it wanted the chocolate bar, but then I got sick. Well, yeah, did you have the point of view that your body would get sick? Because your body will give you what you ask for in this.
Yeah, and that's really key because like I looked at that too because it was like I didn't have a dairy allergy, but I definitely dairy wasn't my favorite thing. So I try to like you said, like exclude. No, I can have dairy now and fine, and then eat the dairy and then feel sick afterwards. But I knew, I was like, okay, was it the dairy that made me sick, or was it the point of view I had that the dairy would make me sick? So I say to people a lot of the time, look, if you point, especially in a bars class where they have points of views about drinking Coke, if you drink the Coke, if you have a point of view, Coke is going to make you toxic or sick or whatever, or it's bad for you, don't drink it until you get rid of your point of view. Because you're going to drink it and convince yourself it's okay, and then afterwards create the sickness to prove you were wrong for drinking it, to prove your
Mm-hmm.
point of view was right.
And the cherry on the situation is that your body doesn't have a point of view, even if being sick. I mean, as weird as it sounds, does your body have a point of view about being sick, or do we have a point of view about our body being sick? And so if we ask our body to be sick from the Coke, your body's gonna go, okay.
That's brilliant. Like, does your body actually have a point of view about anything? Or do you just always project onto and like the thing too is that, oh, if you're sick, then you've done something wrong.
Yep.
More reason to judge yourself.
Yeah, same thing with pain. And
Yeah.
that's why it's like we explore in the body classes about how it's you will get from your body what you're asking for. And so what are you asking for? And what if that pain, that sickness, that uncomfortableness, that weight, that bloating, that whatever it is actual evidence for your communication with your body? You think you've done something wrong, but you haven't. You've asked your body for that and you got it. I like to call those acknowledgement moments instead of judging it. It's like, yay, I asked my body to get sick and it gave me exactly what I asked for. What can I ask for next time?
They're like the orders you give your body. You don't even know you're doing it. You're like, oh, if we go out and have a couple of drinks tonight, we're going to feel really sick tomorrow. And then you give your body those orders and your body's like, okay, I'll give you that sickness because that's what you're telling me to do. And also like a big thing too is that we don't even know, like a lot of these things are energetic judgments we have too. Like you probably wouldn't sit around and go, I'm going to have a couple of drinks tonight and afterwards I'm going to feel sick, but somewhere it's playing out in your background. So a lot of the times we have energetic judgments and points of views about food and drink and everything that pertains to our body that we don't even know we have.
And on that, what we don't even know we have, please, you guys, be aware of when you say something, if the energy is actually matching what you say. Because it's right with that. Oh, it shouldn't matter what I can eat whatever I want because my body wanted it. Your body doesn't actually listen to that. As much as I love my words, your body doesn't actually listen to that. Your body will listen to the energy. And so when you say, I'm going to go out and drink tonight and I'm going to be fine, if underneath energetically you're going, I'm going to be sick as a dog tomorrow, or whatever it is. I'm going to regret it. I'm going to be hungover. What does your body hear? I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be hungover. I'm going to regret it. It does not hear the words, and I'm going to be fine. It hears the underlying energetic point of view. So one of the biggest tips, you guys, I can ever give you is be aware of the words you're using and the energy you're being with it underneath those words, because your body and the universe do not listen to the words. They listen to the energy. So what energy are you being? Call your own bullshit if you need. I'm going to go out drink tonight and I'll be fine. Yeah, and I don't believe that. Cool. You can use the clearing statement or whatever it is until you change that point of view. And this is never to get you to judge you. This is never to get you to judge you. It's not call your bullshit because you think you're full of crap, but call your bullshit so you can get clear in the communication.
And like, be honest with yourself. Like you said, like, instead of going, oh, it's going to be grand, I'm going to eat this. Like, I'm going to just eat the chocolate. I'm going to be fine afterwards. But energetically, you're like, I'm going to be sick afterwards. If you actually just went, okay, energetically, what's my point of view here? Oh, my point of view is that I'm going to be sick tomorrow if I eat this or drink this. Okay, then you could go a little step further and go, is that actually my point of view? Trush? Okay, most 99.9% of the points of views you have about bodies are not yours. You didn't.
There are mothers. I'm just kidding.
Or all your mothers. But like, if you look at a 2-year-old, like they don't have points of views about what they eat or drink, or a 1-year-old. So you didn't come in with them. You brought them from the reality you grew up around. So if you go, okay, who does this point of view belong to? Who did I buy it from? And then destroy and uncreate it, return that point of view to sender. You could also ask, like, whose reality am I validating with this? And then the other thing is, like, the big part of this is where you're trying to make yourself wrong, where you're trying to make your body wrong, or you wrong, or you're trying to be right by eating, like, I always tell the story how I ate avocados every day because they were a superfood, and then my face broke out and all these acne, and I got tested, and the girl was like, you're allergic to vegetable fats, which avocados are a vegetable fat. She was able to clear the allergy out of my body, but like, that was my body going, stop giving me avocados every day. But I decided they were good. So the things the things that you've decided are good that pertain to your body are just as harmful to you as the things that you've decided are bad.
Oh boy, yes. Because I'd like to say anything you stopped asking a question about becomes the limitation you're asking for. Okay. Let me say it again. Yeah. anything you stopped asking a question about becomes the limitation that you're asking for. So just like Amy was saying, all the good foods, you stopped asking a question about it. You've defined it as good. So you're not asking if your body wants it at that time or another time, or the bad foods or whatever it is, or good food, bad food it is. But yeah, anything that you stop asking a question about becomes the limitation you're asking for. It's always about, because that's the other thing. I know a tip we can give you is just because your body wanted it yesterday doesn't mean it wants it today.
That's brilliant. That was like the avocado story. It just wanted it one day. And I was like, oh, I put it in a smoothie. I was like, I really like this. And then I did it every day.
Yeah.
I came to a conclusion. This is good for me. This is a superfood. And I came to the conclusion that I liked it. How many of you like eat something 1 or 2 times and like it, and then you conclude that's what you like to eat? Whew. So all the conclusions we have with our bodies and everything that pertains to our bodies, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate them now?
Yes.
Whew. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, on a shorts, boys, me hands. And what would it take to actually go to question with everything? Like, what would it take to actually be like, okay, how many conclusions do I have here with this? And what would it be like to actually ask a question here? I even noticed lately, I was I love tea. Another conclusion, right? I love tea is a conclusion. I do love tea. It's also an awareness. So it's an awareness that I can then turn into a conclusion. So
yes.
What happened then was like I started to go on this autopilot for tea. Like I would just have I could have like 8 cups of tea a day. It's like a tea nut. And herbal tea though, so it's okay because there's no caffeine in it, right? That's how you justify it.
Oh, I love our justifications. We need like 5 more hours for our justifications of our points of view.
And I started to look at, we did a body call with Simone. I started to look at, like, someone started talking about coffee and like how they're just like, they realized they were just drinking coffee on autopilot. And so I started to look at it with tea and I was like, well, what if I actually start to like really get present instead of just automatically going, turning the kettle on, making the tea? What if I actually got present and actually be present with my body throughout the day? Do you actually desire tea right now? And I did. And like, it was so different. Like I even still like have a couple of cups a day now, but not like that autopilot, like nonstop. And it changed the energy. I started to see where I started to appreciate the tea more and receive it when I was drinking it versus just having a cup in front of you because that's what you do.
Yeah. And let me add on to that. On the other side, you don't have to have a reason for your body not wanting something or for your body wanting something, right? Because it's like the one day her body didn't want the tea. There's no reason. It was just what the body was asking for that day. You know, like somewhere in end of October, my body stopped wanting sugar for some reason. And I just stopped eating. Like I didn't have sugar in my coffee or tea, you know, whatever it was. And people are like, why? Are you doing a cleanse? I'm like, no, my body didn't want it. Well, did you get sick on sugar? No, my body just isn't wanting it right now. And it really confused people. So it's like everywhere we're looking for the reason to justify the information from our body, would you guys be willing to try and uncreate that also?
Yes.
Yeah, right, wrong, good, bad, fuck, online shirts, boys and beyonds.
That's massive. We're always looking for the reason and justification. Like, oh, I'm going on a cleanse because I need to clean out my liver, or I'm going on a whatever grain-free diet, like because I need to lose weight, rather than this is just what my body is asking for today.
Yep.
And every day creating your body from the question, like, body, what do you desire today?
There's a couple of questions in the chat. One I kind of wanted to address.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of them have the same underlying thing of why the heck should we actually ask our body about anything if it doesn't have a point of view, right? It's like, well, why should I ask it what it wants to eat if it doesn't have a point of view? Why should I ask it what it wants to wear if it doesn't have a point of view? Why should I ask it who wants to shag if it doesn't have a point of view? It should not matter. This is where there's a difference between point of view and preference. Okay. Point of view is a solid state. Only one thing matters. Nothing that matches it can't come in. You've decided it looks this way. If it doesn't, you've failed, or if it does, you succeeded, but there is no motion in it. There's no fluidity. And only one choice exists. It's like you have A through Z or A through Z, depending where you are, and only option B works. And then it gets rid of A and then see through everything else. It literally eliminates all other possibilities. A point of view. It's a decision, judgment, conclusion. I could use a bunch of words to describe it, but you guys get the energy. A preference is you have A through Z choices and you try on B. All the other choices remain because it's fluid, it's flexible. You're willing to receive information. You're willing to change things, okay? Your body has a preference. Your body can go, you ask your body, what do you want to eat? And it's like, French fries. And you're like, I have no French fries in the house. We're eating from what's in the kitchen today, so you can't have fries. If a body functioned from a point of view, it would pout. It would be mad at you. It'd be like, I am no longer talking to my infinite being because when I went to the grocery store, I didn't get French fries, right? Bodies don't do that. But when you say, hey, you know what, body, we don't have French fries. What else would you like? It goes, oh, okay, carrots or chocolate or whatever else. A preference is A works, B works, C works, D works. And you know what? It all kind of works. But this one I would choose first. Don't have it? Cool. This second one is just as good. So when we say bodies have no point of view, it doesn't mean it doesn't have a preference for things, but because it doesn't live in that state of judgment, something else is just as good. What would it take for us to live in the fluid state of preference instead of the state of judgment of it has to look like this, taste like this, be like this, and act like this?
Yeah, everything that doesn't allow that, can we just try and create it?
Right, wrong, good, bad, apocalypse, short voice, and beyond.
Like preference has an energy of like it expands your reality and your body's reality, and point of view contracts your reality.
Yep. Which on that, in this vein of asking your body, one of the other things that comes up a lot, and I know we're running at the end of time. Well, not the end of time, but
just the beginning.
I know, right? I've watched too many sci-fi movies. When I say end of time, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what I mean. Or do I? Anyways, sorry, side note. Welcome to my head. But in this asking your body, one of the other things a lot of people say is, okay, well, what does it show up like? Tell me what it's supposed to feel like physically. Yeah. And on this, it seems like a simple question, but it's honestly one of the most difficult to fully respond to because it's going to show up differently for every person and for every person every time. Because if you've decided and judged that a no from your body, like quick example is a weight on your chest, and a yes from your body is a tingling sensation, the next time you ask your body a question, you're going to go look for, do I have a weight on my chest? Or do I have a tingling up my neck or tingling in my body? And if it doesn't show up as that, you think you've not communicated, or your body's mad at you, or a number of things. When actuality, your body usually is just telling you different sometimes. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, your body makes you nauseous this time as a no. Or your body gets you distracted to looking at something else because it didn't want that, it wanted that. And so your attention is drawn to it. And so expanding on what Amy was saying is, you know, you need to be in question every single time of how you even receive the information from your body. And so at the basic of what I can explain it is, if it is a yes, or if it works for you in your body, it expands your universe. No matter how it shows up, there's a perception of expansion. If it's a no, there's a perception of contraction, even if it's something that you don't want to hear. And what I mean by that is, like, when I was 2015, I was supposed to do a Right Body for You class in Toronto, Canada, and I felt sick to my stomach and thought it was food poisoning. I'm like, okay, body, what is this? And it said appendix. And I'm like, no. Even though it was appendix, which is not something you want to hear, is not like light, fluffy, yay, rainbows. There was an expansion to it because it was true. Okay. So that's why it's at the base level, no matter how communication shows up with your body, there's an expansion if it's a yes and true, and there's a contraction if it's no and untrue for you and your body at that time. But please remain in the question of how it shows up this time. And you can even do the silly question of, like, oh, body, are you making me nauseous because it's a no? Oh, okay. Ask if that's the awareness or the bad fish. Your body will let you, the body will tell you.
And like all the definitions and conclusions we have of what it is to communicate with our body and all the ways our body gives us information, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, corner shirts, boys and beyonds. And it's different all the time. It changes because you change. And someone had a question earlier on about, their body. They're saying, I live in this body, but I'm not this body. And my question would be, well, is your body inside your being, or is your being inside your body? So your being is infinite. So your body is inside your being. So your body is part of you. You're never separate from your body. I mean, you can try separate from it, but your body's inside your being. So you may leave your this body, this physical body, you may leave it at some stage and that your bones will go back to the earth. Your body is still part of your being. So what if that awareness, as your being changes, your body also changes too? That's why we have the Access 3-day body class. Gary found, that in doing all these verbal processing classes like foundation, COP, the being was getting lots of change. The being was like, yay, let's go. But then the body was like, help, help, help. And so he was like, oh, we need a class just for the body. So the body can receive the consciousness. And all those body processes, there's like 60 something of them, 70 something in the 3-day body class, are about pouring consciousness into the body. And when you pour enough consciousness into the body heals itself. Now the body can go along with the being as the being is changing. You're going to create change a lot faster, a lot easier. Relationships become easier, money becomes easier. Why? Because your body isn't stuck back here. Your body's coming with you now. So some people, like, they avoid the body class a lot, and I'm like, but that's like such a big part of you creating change in the world,
And if you're avoiding it dynamically, there might be something there for you. Yeah. I'm just saying. I avoided bodies dynamically, and now I spent the past 14 years facilitating people on it.
Yeah.
So if you're resisting it.
Yeah, have a look at that. What you resist usually is end up the thing you require the most. And for all the people who are in the chat going, I asked my body this, and what about my points of views and the back and forth, I have to say that taking many 3-day body classes, and for me, I go to body classes every year. Like, that's something I'm committed to. I'm committed to gifting that to my body. And I didn't get to like an ease with my body overnight. I had so many points of views in the way, but that's the whole point of the body processes, is to eliminate, dissipate, destroy, and uncreate, eradicate those points of views that you've taken on from mother, father, family, culture, other lifetimes even. And then all these other body processes that like activate, initialize, and actualize all these new energies in your body. So you get to generate your body in a new way, in a totally new way every day. And I honestly would not have the peace with my body that I have today only for the body classes. Like, I don't know how I would be in the world. I'd be in the kitchen still with the banana, fighting whether I wanted or didn't want it. Muscle testing back and forth 100 times.
It's so true. It's so true. And And one of the other things I love about the body classes is generative nurturing touch. I know this can be a controversial part of it, but these are all hands-on body processes. Because have you ever been hugged by a relative or a good friend and felt better? Yeah, that is the energetic contribution of one body touching another with the nurturing, generative, healing capacities that bodies are. So the body classes are also inviting the physical of the body to be that contribution that it is to other physical aspects of the body as well. And so we go through and talk about nurturing touch. When you get touched by somebody in no judgment, total contribution, and have a willingness to receive, it is one of the most life-changing dynamic things I have ever encountered. And I thought I was from a family that was touchy, like yummy touchy, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we hug and whatever. But it was so barriered, so restrictive that we might as well have been, I was going to say touching a wall, but the wall may have been more nurturing, right? Because it doesn't have a point of view. But I really began to perceive and receive and give in these body classes of learning to touch with the healing, no judgment, and just yumminess. And now my body is like a cat. You know, like when you go to pet a cat and the cat rises, like, hello, pet me. Yes, pet me here. Oh, and here. Oh, yes, thank you. It's like my body in a body class, right? It's like when somebody touches you like that, you're like, yes, thank you. I'll even lick you maybe. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll purr for you.
Everything we talk about in Access, we talk about receiving.
Mhm.
And, the whole point of the body class is for you to learn how to receive. So, if you're like, oh, how do I receive? Like maybe add some more body process or receive more body work, For me,
Yeah.
it's also like a process of like letting go of control and receiving. And like you said, allowing person to run energy on you, allowing them to touch you, allowing yourself to receive the touch. And when you open up to that level of receiving, it changes the receiving in your money flows, your business, your
Mhm.
relationships.
Yeah, I'm not even exaggerating a little bit when I say that adding my body and asking my body for things, inviting my body to be that contribution, changed every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Every single one, period. I'm
Yeah.
not even joking or exaggerating.
What if your body is actually the key to you having everything you're asking for in the universe?
And your partner in creation that
Mhm.
you've been asking for as well.
So, guys, we're going to be doing a 3-day body class in Florida, Delray Beach, Florida, our sunny seaside village town of Delray Beach.
Oh, I can't
It's a beautiful town, great restaurants and shops and boutiques. So, May the 6th through to the 8th, with myself and Donnielle. And then Donnielle will be offering a Right Body for You intro evening class. If you come to the 3-day body, you'll also get to receive that. And I'm going to be doing some accessing the joy of body, some movement, one of the mornings before 3-day body. So it'll be a fun weekend. And if you're not in, North America and you want, or the dates don't work for you, you can go to accessconsciousness.com, look up the body classes. If you go to overview and then class calendar search, it's easier to search your country and your state. I know that Donnielle's going to Canada this year. In June, Canada, right? June or July, you're going to Canada? October, great. And then I'm most likely coming to Dubai again in September and going to Argentina in July. And lots of more classes coming, I'm sure. Keep an eye out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And as Amy and I've talked about, it's like, even it's not about only come to our classes, just please go to a class.
Go to
These
a body
classes, yes, these are so much fun. I mean, would we love to have you in our class? Absolutely. Because we are busting the myths of co-facilitators of like, wait a minute, you guys are doing it because you just want to have fun? Yes. Isn't that part of it? So come play with lots of giggling and laughing and having fun. And yeah.
Yeah. Would you be willing to actually gift to your body? Okay. My husband locked himself out of the house. It's definitely time to go. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
everyone. Thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.